All right, welcome. Ever wonder what really separates a good hockey team from a great one? It's not just about the big trades or the coaching. Nope. It all starts years earlier, in cold rinks all over the world with the real unsung heroes of the game, the scouts.
So picture this. You're the general manager. You're the architect. The entire future of your franchise is resting on your next big decision, the draft pick. You've got hours of tape, pages and pages of stats. But what are you actually looking for?
So how do you make that call? Well, today we're going to crack open the scouting playbook by using the rules from a classic APBA Pro hockey game. You know, its principles for finding talent are so on point, they're basically a blueprint for how real NHL GMs build their dynasties.
Okay, first things first. This is maybe the most important rule of all. It's the foundation of any great scouting philosophy, and it's all about seeing what's beyond the numbers on a spreadsheet.
You see, in a board game like this, a player's whole season gets boiled down to a single card. It's just a snapshot in time. But any GM worth their salt knows that one amazing season doesn't automatically equal an amazing career. You've got to dig a little deeper than that.
For instance, if you were just looking at the card a while back, you might have jumped at Bernie Nichols after he had that insane 150-point season. You might have even picked him over a young guy named Peter Forsberg. See the problem? One was a flash in the pan, a statistical explosion. The other was a future Hall of Famer. The lesson here is huge. You draft for the next 10 years, not just the last 10 months.
Okay, so we know we're looking for long-term talent. But the next big question is, where do you even find it? Because where a player puts up their numbers, oh, that matters a lot.
Think about it. A 50-point season in one league could actually be way more impressive than a 90-point season in another. Context is absolutely everything. You're not just scouting the player, you're scouting the level of competition they've been up against.
Now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. The Swedish league, it's a defensive powerhouse packed with tough veterans. So if a teenager is even putting up some points there, that's a huge sign of talent. On the flip side, after the Soviet Union broke up, so many players left for the NHL that the talent pool got really watered down, so huge stats there don't mean as much. And in a lower-tier league like Slovakia's, well, a top prospect should be tearing it up. If they're not, that's a major red flag.
And boom, this quote just nails the point perfectly. The legendary Peter Forsberg wasn't lighting up the scoreboard as a kid in Sweden's top league. And why is that? Because in a tough league like that, young players have to fight for every second of ice time against grown men. So his kind of modest stats, they actually told scouts something much more important, that he was already defensively mature and ready for the big leagues.
All right, so we've looked past the flashy one-year stats, and we've put them in the right context. Now we get to the really tricky part, scouting the things that never ever show up on a score sheet.
Look, it's just a simple truth of the league. You can't teach size. And because of that, NHL clubs will give a big player, someone like Todd Bertuzzi, way more chances to figure things out and develop his skills. They're just willing to be more patient because that physical foundation, that raw potential, is already there.
And when we talk about those intangibles, this is the stuff GMs dream about, especially for their defensemen. We're talking about the guys who can clear the crease, who win those gritty puck battles in the corners, and who play a physical, intimidating game. That kind of player is incredibly valuable, often way more valuable than a defenseman who just racks up points.
And hey, if you want proof, just follow the money. This chart says it all. You've got a purely offensive D-man like Norm Maciver on one side, and then a tough, rock'em sock'em defensive guy like Jeff Bukaboom on the other. Look at that salary gap. GMs are paying a premium of over $1 million for that toughness. At the end of the day, they put their money where their mouth is.
But all that size and toughness means nothing if a player can't stay on the ice. That brings us to a super simple but absolutely critical rule. You know the old saying, the best ability is availability? You have to check a player's injury history. A pattern of injuries, especially for a smaller guy who's going to take a beating in the NHL, is a massive, flashing red flag. Bad knees or chronic shoulder problems, they don't just magically disappear at the next level.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the toughest one to stick to. It's the rule that separates the good franchises from the truly great ones.
You have to remember, you're usually drafting 18-year-old kids. I mean, they're not just getting used to the fastest, most skilled hockey league in the world. A lot of them are moving to a new country with a new culture. Progress is almost never a straight line up.
The whole key is to not panic. Don't give up on a young talent like Petr Sikora just because of one-off year. A great scout, instead of just looking at his stats, starts asking the right questions. What line was he on?
Who were his line mates? Was he even getting any power play time? You're not drafting for opening night. You're drafting for the Stanley Cup parade 5 or 10 years down the road.
So there it is, the Scout's Playbook. Look past the stats, understand the context, value the intangibles, and most importantly, be patient. The clock's ticking, the future of your team is in your hands, so who are you taking?